Hey everyone, I'm Jimmy,
And I'm Phil.
and welcome to Spooky Appalachia. Today we're trying something different here. We're going to do kind of a compilation video of our top five favorite Mothman sighting stories.
Yeah, so we'll do the three that I picked first, and the first one we're gonna play for y'all is one we shared back for the first time back in September 2022. It was a Mothman sighting in Gallipolis, Ohio, from 1967, and I liked this one because of, I guess, how contemporary it was to the original sightings. I thought it was cool that there was a piece of kind of local folklore left over from there, and it kind of hit on one of the reasons that I really enjoy doing this channel and sharing y'all stories, is that so these stories don't sort of get lost to the ages. So we'll go ahead and play that one now. Mothman sighting, Gallipolis, Ohio, November 1967. Today's story was sent to me by a friend of mine that lives in Gallipolis, Ohio, named Amy. For those unfamiliar with the area, Gallipolis is right across the bridge from Point Pleasant. It is considered to be a sister town to Point Pleasant by many of the people that live there. I live in Gallipolis, and an elderly neighbor said that when her children were little, during the time of the sightings, sometimes around November 1967, they were in our backyard playing, and she saw a giant bird-like creature flying towards them. She described it as being dark brown colored and having big red eyes, like what was described in the other sightings at the time. She scooped up the kids and ran inside because it looked like it could take one of the kids. She also said that behind our neighborhood they used to take walks along the railroad tracks, and one day they saw an area in the field where the grass was flattened like a large creature had been laying there nesting. Given everything else that was happening, it really freaked her out. Thank you, Amy, for sending me this story. I know if I were out in my yard with my kids and I saw something like that, it would have freaked me out as well. All right, so the next story we have to share is one that we originally shared back in November of 2022. A sighting from a friend of Jimmy's named Missy from Plainview, New York. She shared it based on an experience some friends of hers had, and I sort of like a lot of these ones that the investigative people send us, because I feel like they're always really good writers, and it's kind of punchy and action packed. And I also thought this one was kind of neat that neither of them really seemed to know what it was, drew the same thing, and then afterwards Missy was the one like, oh, like that could be a Mothman thing, and then sent it along to us. So here's that story. Possible Mothman sighting, Plainview, New York, 2022. This story was sent to me by a good friend of mine named Missy, who discovered another paranormal group that may have had a Mothman sighting in New York. Also, if you are a fan of true crime stories, be sure to check out her YouTube channel, Mystery Girl with Missy. You know that video I made on Sweet Hollow Road? People describe what they saw in the area, and I think it was a Mothman in those woods there. I had never heard of Mothman till seeing some of your videos on it, and thought this may be a story you can use. When I was doing the research about Sweet Hollow, there was a group of paranormal investigators I found who were also investigating the area. The three of them were looking for a lady in white in the woods. They said their equipment picked up words: get out, leave, go now. They said let's listen and go. On the way out of the woods, they all saw something and ran out real fast. When they got out of the woods, they looked at each other and just got in the car. On the way back, they didn't speak, they were so chilled. They ended up drawing what they saw for each other and didn't know what it was. I ended up seeing it and realized it was probably a Mothman after seeing your videos. It was a large, dark brown creature that looked like a half man, half bird with dark red eyes. Thank you, Missy, for sending along this great story to us. So the final one that I selected that we're going to share is one from Cairo, West Virginia, that was spotted on July 17th of last year in 2022. And I like this one for a lot of the same reasons that I liked the last one. Like I think the the way they told the story is really cool, and also this one came with pictures, which was pretty neat. I think this might have been one of or first close to the first story we got from folks that had pictures with it. So hope y'all enjoy. Possible Mothman sighting, Cairo, West Virginia, July 17th. For today's story, we have a possible Mothman encounter story sent in by Natasha. This one is particularly interesting because it's a very recent Mothman sighting in West Virginia, and her friend got a photo. I hope you all enjoy it as much as we did. I've seen a few posts now for people looking for something fun and scary to do, so what better time than to tell you about our trip to Cairo, West Virginia the other night. First, we stopped off at the school to take a quick tour inside, but we were chased out by bats, so we went down another road, which ultimately got us lost and scared that our vehicle would roll over the hill. We didn't stop there. We continued out to Silver Run Tunnel 19, but instead of walking, we decided to drive through. Upon coming to the opposite end, we looked over to a picnic table, and all we saw were two bright red lights on top of this table. The odd part was that the lights would appear and disappear. So two brave souls got out to look, and one of them actually picked up two tea-light candles. Yet the candles were cold and were never lit, so he kicked the candles into the woods, and we backed the hell up and went to speed out of there. Then we decided to stop in the middle of the tunnel and turn the lights out while letting my son-in-law and another fellow out. We locked the doors to go to speed off to mess with them, but then my son-in-law comes hauling ass back to the vehicle and starts begging to be let back in. Once again, these two red lights followed him into the tunnel. Mind you, there were 6 of us total, and we all watched these lights blink like they were eyes. So I stepped on the gas and we got the hell out of there. The even crazier part of all of this was when we got to the bridge to come across back into the little town, we came to a stop and suddenly you could hear the loudest scratching noise come across the outside of the vehicle. Of course, we all say what the heck was that, and we sit there for a minute. My son-in-law got out and looked under, over, and all around the vehicle, and not a branch, twig, nothing in that road. We booked our butts out of that town fast as crap, and I hold my hand to God this shit really all happened. This was my second most creepiest encounter at Silver Run in Cairo, and I can say I'm definitely done with the place. I've also sent along some photos my friend managed to take of it.
All right, guys. So it's time for one of my picks. This first one here is the Southern Michigan Mothman sighting from 2019. It was one of our first, if not the first, Mothman sighting stories that we were sent. And that is one of the reasons why it's one of my favorites. I also kind of like it because it's pretty creepy, not too far over the top, but you'll see, she's kind of out on her own at a stoplight and then has her sighting. So those are the reasons why I picked this one.
Possible Mothman sighting from southern Michigan in 2019. This week, we have a story from Lori with a possible Mothman sighting from southern Michigan back in 2019. It's a pretty exciting story, and I'm happy to be able to share it here. Also, check out our original story on the Mothman for more information on the creature. I've shared this story before. I am reluctant to share it again. I am sure it will sound like I'm batshit crazy, but the truth is this happened without a doubt. I live in southern Michigan, USA. A couple of years ago, back in 2019, I was on my way home from a friend's house. It was about 11 p.m. I was alone in my F-150 truck. I was sitting at a red light about a mile from my house. I was completely sober. No drinking, no drugs. No other cars at the intersection, just me. As I waited for the light to turn green, something fluttering caught my eye in my rearview mirror. At first, I thought it was a big bird, but as I continued to stare, I saw this was no bird. It was huge, flying about 6 to 8 feet above the road behind me, heading directly at me, probably a good city block behind. I saw its wings flapping. As it got closer, I could see each wing was about a 6-foot span. It had a human-type body. It was all black. I was frozen in fear. I may have even stopped breathing. My mind raced to try and justify what I was seeing. My eyes quickly darted around, looking for flags, banners, something that possibly created this image I was seeing on the road. There was nothing. It just about reached the bed of my truck when the light turned green. I broke my stare and I floored it out of there. Funny how your mind races and your body freezes while trying to justify what you're seeing. That was the most awful fear I've ever experienced. When I got home, I was trembling. Reality set in. To this day, I still don't know what the hell it was that I saw. I searched the net to give you an idea of what I saw. I know what this sounds like, but I never saw it again, and I hope I never do. This story gave me goosebumps just reading it. It's also exciting because it's a more recent sighting. I've been seeing a lot of talk about Mothman sightings in the Illinois and Michigan areas. Maybe this is where it's living these days. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Okay, and for our last pick, I picked this recent one we featured back in April. It was of a possible Mothman sighting that occurred in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, back in December of 2022. And I like this one for a couple reasons. One, it's an actual Point Pleasant sighting, or really near Point Pleasant. It's in Mason County. And I mean, it's pretty creepy too. Two dudes driving on some back roads in the middle of the night, and then they run into something. It's that's doesn't get any creepier than that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spooky Appalachia. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Phil. Hey, everyone.
So this week we have a an interesting story from a member of our Mothman sightings Facebook group. We get a lot of Mothman sightings from there, obviously. Well, can you guess what this week's about, everyone?
I have a thought. I have a thought. I haven't looked at the story yet. We'll see if I'm right. I'm lying. I have looked at the story, but it would still be the same thought.
My guess is the Grafton Monster. Someone saw
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that was my guess too.
Okay.
We'll see if we're correct. To the
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Me and my cousin Marcos were in the Point Pleasant, West Virginia area visiting family. While we were driving down Redmond Ridge Road at about 9:30ish at night, sometime around Christmas, we passed a human-like figure as we slowed down. We looked out our rearview mirror where we saw a large figure that was 6.5 to 7 feet tall. As me and my cousin rolled down the window to ask if everything was all right, all of a sudden our reverse light caught a glimpse of large, beaming eyes looking our way. My cousin told me to floor it out of there. We took off down the road, and after going down the road a few minutes, everything seemed normal. After a few more minutes, when everything had calmed down, my cousin Marcos looked to the right and noticed a large creature flying almost directly over us. We were going about 30 miles an hour and stepped on the gas as we hit speeds of about 40 to 50 miles an hour. The creature was still following us with ease. With the windy back roads, it was pretty hard to go much faster. After about 2 minutes of trying to outrun the human-like creature, we got on County Route 175. At that point, there was no one behind us. I have never known about this creature until I went to visit your community. I'm not sure if I'm crazy and my eyes were seeing things, but I would like to know if anyone else had experienced such things, or if I saw the Mothman, or if I was just seeing things. All right, everyone, that wraps up our 5 favorite Mothman sightings. We hope you all enjoyed this. Let us know your favorite Mothman sightings, either ones we've done or other ones we might not have heard about that you want to bring to our attention in the comments. And yeah, let us know if you enjoyed this, if you'd like to see more things like this in the future. We have a lot of repeat cast members here on Spooky Appalachia that we could do things like this for. So yeah, let us know, and we'd like to do more stuff like this in the future if it's something y'all are into. Take care, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Later.